tragedy on the island of Bimini. Tributes continue to pour in on the passing of Chief Justice Stephen Isaacs. And some good news for the island's healthcare facility.
The Bahamas Tonight Northern Edition starts now.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening, all. I'm Megan Shepard. Thank you so much for tuning in. Topping the news, some tragic news from Bimini tonight as a Dominican worker was crushed to death in an industrial accident on that northern island. Now, according to the police, the incident happened at a construction site around 9 a.m. We are told that a male worker was operating a crane lifting a 400-foot concrete beam from a barge to the dock at the marine at Bimini Bay when the cable of the crane allegedly snapped. The beam fell and landed on the crane cabin. The crane subsequently caught a fire and the worker on the inside of the crane was pronounced dead at the scene by a doctor from the Bimini Clinic. The matter is under investigation. Now, tributes are coming in for Chief Justice Stephen Isaacs, who passed away 2 weeks after he was officially sworn into that post. Here in Grand Bahama, he is being credited as the first Bahamian judge that stabilized the operations of the Supreme Court, managing both civil and criminal matters. Tonight, local attorneys remember him as a student of the law and a humble judge who was always happy to assist. Italia Hall has the story.
Stephen Isaacs was sworn in as Chief Justice on August 10th, filling a post left vacant by Sir Hartmut Longley, who moved on to the Court of Appeal. Members within the law profession on Grand Bahama are mourning his passing, as Justice Isaacs once served as a judge in Freeport. Attorney Carlton Sherlin says Chief Justice Isaacs was a consummate professional who was very probing in his legal thoughts. He says he has known Isaacs since he was a child, calling the Chief Justice a very sincere friend.
We grew up together in the valley, blocks away from each other, so we were always friends. Every time I traveled to Nassau, one of my pit stops would be to give a courtesy call to him. And over the years, when I became a lawyer, I would always respect his advice, made sure that I read his judgments, and during his tenure in Freeport, we became even more closer.
So able to keep the machinery of justice moving here in Grand Bahama at the time he spent here. And I can speak to my opinion of him as a judge. His temperament was fantastic. He was excellent in actually addressing issues with counsel. He was excellent in addressing issues when sitting before a jury. He never displayed any bias towards any counsel or prosecution.
Former magistrate attorney Ernie Wallace says he has known Isaacs for a very long time.
He was a gentleman, and as they said in Nassau recently, a judge's judge, a person who ascended to high heights but never lost his touch with small people.
Attorney Constance MacDonald was very vocal in her support of Isaacs being made permanent as Chief Justice. She says it is a position that he certainly deserved.
When I was living in Nassau, we were on the same law committee, and then after that, he was down here as a judge, and then I sat with him on the Judicial and Legal Services Committee. As a judge, I remember whilst he was here in Freeport, he would always try to test you to see if you really did your research when you came before him. Thankfully, he never caught me out because I tend to, do my preparation. But he had this dry sense of humor, and he was very serious. He took the law very seriously.
But Attorney Sherlin says there's a lot that many young attorneys and judges coming up in the judicial system can learn from Chief Justice Isaacs. One in particular is perseverance.
To persevere, Justice Isaacs started off his career, and he stuck to it. And it shows that if you really dedicated to the law or to a career path, that anything is possible.
Justice Vera Watkins is now the acting Chief Justice following the death of Chief Justice Stephen Isaacs. Justice Isaacs died on Friday, August 24th at the age of 63. Reporting for ZNS Network News, I'm Italia Hall.
In other news, the Minister of Health is addressing some of the vexing issues impacting healthcare system on Grand Bahama. In an interview with ZNS News, the minister disclosed that good news is on the way for Grand Bahama. Portions of the Rands Memorial Hospital have been undergoing construction and renovations for some time now, specifically the new cafeteria that is currently being built at the rear of the hospital on the grounds of the former Royal Palms Hotel. The Minister of Health, the Honorable Dr. Dwayne Sands, admits that the project is taking longer than the ministry would have liked. In fact, he says that there are a few major items that are of vexing concern due to limited funding.
One is the cafeteria, and then the doctor's quarters, and then finally the CAT scan. I am happy to say that Grand Bahama, Freeport, is getting its CAT scan the first week of September. Brand new CAT scan, state of the art, okay? The installation will start in the first or second week of September. Work on the cafeteria and the adjoining corridor has started again now that funds have been mobilized, and it's difficult for me to give you a specific completion date, but it's long overdue, and we'd like to get that kitchen and cafeteria up and running. And then finally the doctor's quarters. And those are the major capital projects for the Rand Memorial Hospital in this fiscal year.
An oncology clinic has also been a concern and major desire of residents. The minister says that they have been trying to make this a reality and assures residents that this remains a commitment.
Ultimately, our challenge is an oncologist and getting the clinic up and running. We've talked about an oncology clinic, a vascular clinic, and another major problem that we have is we don't have enough surgical support in Grand Bahama. Right now we enjoy one general surgeon, one orthopedic surgeon, and then we have itinerant surgeons, myself, Dr. Farquharson, that come in. We now have a gastroenterologist, Dr. Marcus Cooper, coming in to support Grand Bahama. So there are basic requirements to build a health system, and all of those things will be addressed this year.
Many Grand Bahamians taking part in an official send-off for Archdeacon Harry Bain and his wife Anne. The priest of 20 years at the Pro-Cathedral of Christ the King Church will take up the post of Dean of Christ Church Cathedral in New Providence. Today, a large motorcade was held and many got an opportunity to say goodbye. Shishina Rowe Farquharson reports.
It was a bittersweet day on Grand Bahama for Anglicans, friends, family, and supporters of Archdeacon Harry Bain. While there has been a week of activities to say farewell to the prominent and charismatic priest, a special motorcade was held to say an official goodbye. The parade started from the basketball court at the Pro-Cathedral of Christ the King. Buses filled with students from various schools on the island, as well as those who loved him dearly, waved in celebration and commemoration of Father Bain's last day here on the island.
It's important for me to be here to let him know that we truly love him and we wish him well. And I personally just want to let him know that no matter where he goes, we support him 100%.
He's been there for my kids. He's been there for me. He's a confidant. You could always go to him when you're stressed, when you're feeling down. He always has a way of making you feel so much better.
After 20 years being a good priest, I mean, he is a good priest, very good priest, and we all will miss him.
I think he has fulfilled his purpose at Christ the King, and it's time for him to move on to higher pastures.
I was Pentecostal all my life. For 51 years of my life, I was Pentecostal. And if there's three priests that caused me almost become an Anglican, Father Harry Bain is one of them. Of course, Father Curtis Robinson and Stephen Grant. But today is sad in that he's leaving, and it's joyous because he's leaving because it's a promotion for him.
Many say that he was not just their priest, but also a friend, and his legacy is one that can never be forgotten.
He taught not only the Word of God, but he encouraged the young and all to love one another
And he said we must just keep him in mind, heart, and in prayer.
His legacy in Grand Bahama, it's not only with the church, as Mrs. Roberts said, it's also with the school. Because, you know, he was the principal at the then Freeport High School, now Bishop Michael Eldon. So, you know, he has done so much.
And as for Will Stubbs, he says Father Bain did more than just to teach him the scriptures.
But he even taught me how to sing the scriptures. Example, the Lord is my shepherd, and I shall not want.
Shashina Rolf-Arkeson, ZNS Network News.
We wish the Bain family all the best. You're watching the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Stay with us. There's more news right after this break.